ghost?
Do you want to meet a ghost?
Do you want to meet a ghost? Do you want to meet a ghost?
I'm Emily.
And I'm Chelsea,
We're two lifelong horror fans.
here to discuss old favorites and discover new ones.
We summarize the whole movie.
Spoilers and all.
Do you want to meet a ghost?
Let's press play.
Hello, everyone. Today we're doing another top 10, top 5 episode. So we are going to wrap up the year by doing a top 10 list of our favorite movies and a top 5 list of our favorite TV shows. These are movies and TV shows that were released in 2024. So we're just going to kick it off with our favorite shows. We're gonna start at the bottom and then work our way to the top.
Does it count if I have shows that just had a season come out this year?
Yeah,
I'm ranking the seasons?
Yeah, all of my shows just had a new season come out this year. None of them are
Okay.
came out the first season was not from this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
We decided to be kind of loose on the categories and not necessarily lock it into our top horror TV shows, but just things we liked. Most of my things do skew horror, but some of them are kind of outliers. So my number 5 for top TV shows, I have the 5th season of Dark Side of the Ring on my list, which is a documentary about pro wrestling. It's amazing that they're on season 5. It's been going on for a number of years, and it's made by Vice, and it just covers the tragedies and conflicts and controversial stuff that happens in the world of wrestling. It feels like a true crime show in a lot of ways, but because it's not just about murder or death, but it's about just any kind of controversy. So I have Dark Side of the Ring as my number 5.
There's so much darkness in wrestling. That sounds really good. I would say Vice and NPR are my two favorite journalism groups. Does that touch on WWE stuff? Because that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. That stuff is so dark. Oh my God. Austin tells me a little bit about it, and
Yeah.
Vince
Lots
McMahon
of-
is like the devil.
Yes.
He's terrible.
Yes.
That's my PSA.
Love it.
My number 5 is The Boys.
Woo!
And
Nice choice.
yeah, and I actually haven't finished season 4 yet, which was the one that came out this year, but
Mhm.
I've been rewatching the whole show because Austin's never seen it, and yeah, The Boys is just The Boys is really timely right now because a lot of it has to do with politicizing things.
Mhm.
And human rights. So yeah, I love it, and it's just fun. The characters are all so fun.
Oh yeah.
The acting is incredible. Homelander.
Mhm.
Homelander is just every little eye twitch and
Oh,
facial
yeah.
expression is insanely good. So, and it's just funny, and it's really graphic. Yeah, it's great all around. A great show.
I kind of like how off the wall it is. It is weirdly graphic, and I'm not super familiar with it. I've seen a good portion of season 1. I've seen some of the other seasons. So I'm definitely familiar with it, but I haven't watched a season all the way through. But from what I've seen, I do like how wild it is.
Yeah. And I feel like The Boys kind of bridge this weird gap that we have as Americans, where we're pretty divided as a country. And I feel like everybody enjoys The Boys.
Because everybody's kind of a target. Although I do feel like they skew a little more in the correct way of things.
Yeah, absolutely. They're definitely more if I had to guess what the political leanings are of the creator, I would say libertarian maybe, or
Mhm.
more central, or just general, doesn't have a side kind of
Mhm.
thing. Yeah.
Was season 4 the one where Jeffrey Dean Morgan's in it?
Yeah. I haven't
Oh,
gotten
I
to
need
that
to watch
part.
it. I need to watch it.
Yeah. If you need a reason to get into The Boys, Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
But also Jensen Ackles.
Oh my God. The way I had to Google, I'm like, is that the dude from Supernatural? Because
Oh yeah.
he's so different. Like, he's the biggest asshole, and like this like gruff boy voice that he does. It's just, I'm really enjoying his performance in there.
He's great.
So yeah, so that was my number 5. So what was your number 4?
My number 4 is House of the Dragon season 2.
Okay.
I know we both had some feelings on that.
Yes.
So I think my thing is I didn't watch a ton of shows that came out this year, so my ranking kind of feels a little skewed. Like,
I see.
I'm very confident in my top 3, but my other 2, I was like, well, these are the closest I can get to a top 5. I will say I liked House of the Dragon season 1 way more. I think season 2 fell off a little bit, and I also just want to say when so we had a House of the Dragon party at my house. So a few of us were watching House of the Dragon, and I liked when it was over, we were all just silent after that first
we were like,
episode.
is that it? What?
Yeah, we were all just like, that's it. Like, that's all they did in this episode. Even though the last 5 minutes is excellent and it's like really dark, and I was hoping they would get to that story early. Overall, the rest of the episode, I don't even know how to explain what was wrong with it, but it just felt like a slog. I think
Yeah.
half of us might have been falling asleep. Came back on the upswing for me through the rest of it, and I really enjoyed it. But I will say, I think season 1 was way more solid.
Yeah. I feel like season 2 is more of like a setup for season 3 more than anything. Like, if
Yeah.
season 3 doesn't pop off right away, I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, House of the Dragon has like a crazy amount of main characters with all very similar names.
Mm-hmm.
And if, if the point was just to establish like this person's this person and give them all each individual and recognizable like goals and things like that,
Mhm.
drives, I would say it was successful in that way.
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
What did you put for your next one?
So for my number 4, I put, and this one might not be horror, but I put The Bear.
Ooh, yes.
The Hulu show. It's about the cooks in the kitchen.
Jeremy Allen White.
Which, I mean, like, okay, on one hand, not technically horror, but on the other hand, it's like the horrors of working in a kitchen.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's like, I don't know, it like kind of gives me anxiety sometimes when I
Oh,
watch
definitely.
it just has like really great cast and like characters and stories, and I really like to cook, and I feel like that also inspires me to kind of chef it up more in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Watched it, but it didn't make my list. I think I liked the other seasons of it better, and kind of how you said how House of the Dragon felt like a setup for the next season of that.
Mm.
I felt like this season of The Bear, like I really felt like that was a hard setup, and not too much happened in my opinion, but
Yeah.
it's a good show. I think it's really unique, and like I think one of the best TV episodes of all time is that one in season 2, the Christmas episode.
I was just gonna mention that Christmas episode was incredible. Like,
Yeah,
just
like
seeing
what
the
yeah.
extremely dysfunctional family on Christmas and the madness of Christmas with a dysfunctional family is so good.
so good, and like such a panicky episode.
Yeah.
Amazing guest stars like Bob Odenkirk's in it, Sarah Paulson's in that episode.
Mhm.
And then what's his name that plays his brother? Why can't I remember the actor's name? But that actor's in that episode because it's a flashback. But yeah, love that episode. Like even more than that, I probably liked that episode more than I liked the 3rd season, honestly. But I do like The Bear a lot.
Yeah, and who plays their mom? Who her name?
That's Jamie Lee Curtis, I think.
Jamie
right?
Lee Curtis. Yes. Oh, I love Jamie Lee Curtis.
I know.
I'll watch anything with her in it. She's just like, she'll always be the it girl for me. So what is your number 3?
My number 3 is Interview with the Vampire season 2.
Oh, I gotta watch that. I still haven't watched it.
Not season 1 either.
No.
Oh my god.
I'm slacking, and I know I'm gonna love it.
Good.
Ah,
You will love it. And it's not that long. I think season 1 is like less than 10 episodes. I think season 2 is also less than 10 episodes. I will say again, I think season 1 of Interview with the Vampire was absolutely incredible. Season 2 was very, very good, but I just didn't love it as much as 1, but I think that's more like a me problem. I just think the way that the characters were introduced in season 1 was just mind-blowingly good. The casting's amazing. So Jacob Anderson plays Louis. Jacob Anderson's been in a number of things, but his role in one of like the biggest things he's ever been in was Game of Thrones. He was Grey Worm. Sam Reed plays Lestat and just channels that Lestat character like nobody's business. The actresses that play Claudia, season 1 had a different actress than season 2. So season 1 was Claudia was played by an actress named Bailey Bass, and then season 2 it was Delaney Hales who was recast as her. I think that actress just had other things going on, so she was recast for it. Basically, season 1 and season 2 of this show cover the first half and second half of the Interview with the Vampire book. And I think this show is so much closer to the intentions that the book had, much closer than the 90s movie, which I also love, but like this is just far and beyond what that ever achieved. And you can tell the cast just fucking loves it. Oh, and another actor in it that I love, Eric Bogosian's in it, who's been in a bunch of things. But you would recall him from Succession. He plays Gil Evis, who is that politician that Shiv works with.
Oh.
The gray curly-haired guy. And he plays the interviewer in Interview with the Vampire. In the story, like without too much giving too much away, the interviewer kind of becomes intertwined in the lives of like Louis and Lestat. So his role gets bigger and as time goes on. And he is just such a great actor. He's a playwright. Just a fantastic human being, but also just what a great casting for this show. Interview with the Vampire season 2, super, super fun.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I know of the show, it gives the vibe of like I don't know if you remember Quizilla back in the days.
Yeah.
I used to read like hella fanfic on Quizilla when I was in middle school, and there were a couple of good like vampire there were a couple of good vampire series on Quizilla that people would publish, and it just reminds me of just like a really great vampire fanfic that is better than what we already have.
Kind of, because in the original book, blood drinking was mostly like a stand-in for sex, and like Louis and Lestat are clearly
right
involved.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
like, the book doesn't go there as much as the show does, and the show just has like nudity, wild sex scenes, and it's by AMC, and they were kind of running it on TV, which I just always get stoked when that happens. But yeah, very horny show. But you can't have vampires without having a horny thing happening.
Exactly.
Vampires have to be horny.
Yes, absolutely. 100%. For my number 3, I put Rings of Power.
Nice.
Oh God, I just think it's such a fantastic show. Like, I recommended it to some of my family members who are huge Lord of the Rings fans. Shout out Uncle Randy. And there was a lot of people did not like Rings of Power, and I keep trying to convince people like, no, this show is amazing. If you're a fan of the Lord of the Rings universe, like, this has everything for you. This expands on the universe. This expands on the lore. This is like a big budget visual representation of a lot of these really grand settings in Middle Earth that we haven't been able to see before, that are just like kind of hinted at in the Lord of the Rings. And it's great characters. It's a great message, overall message. Like, just, it's still about the corruption of power.
Right.
And what that does to people at the end of the day. And it's fantastic. And in this season 2, we got to see the Balrog. Like, the Balrog was so cool. And just like the ancient dwarves and the ancient men. In particular, I really enjoy seeing that. The costume design is incredible.
Yeah.
And there's some really great singing too. Like, yeah, because in the books, there's always like they're always singing their little songs, So I really love the singings. I love seeing like the early hobbits and like what an ancient nomadic hobbit would look like. It was very well thought out. You could tell the people who work on the show are huge fans.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really good. And you know, I feel like Tolkien wasn't, I might get hate for that, but there was improvements you could make, and they have made those
And they
improvements
made them, yeah.
in this show.
That's awesome.
Yes. So that was my number 3. So what was your number 2?
So my number 2 was The Curse. And I can't remember. Did you see The Curse? The Nathan Fielder and Emma Stone show?
No, I wanted to see that though. I love Nathan Fielder. Like
I know.
I got hooked on his comedy when I saw Nathan For You.
Yes.
He's so good. He's so funny. Just my brand of humor.
Oh yeah, and he's so dry and he's so great. But I also love that like no one has any idea what women find attractive, because if you ask most women who know of Nathan Fielder if he's hot, most women are like, yeah, Nathan Fielder could get it, you know?
Oh my God, yes. 100%. I think it's like the like he has a lot of confidence to do the kind of comedy he does.
Oh, definitely.
He's so funny. But he's also chill. Like you could tell he has a high tolerance for bullshit and was like kind of understanding of other people. But like if you're goofy and weird, he'll call you out for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoyed The Curse. It takes place in, I think, New Mexico. It's got so much social commentary and stuff like that. And then all of it meets in the final episode into this, like, the final episode is literally nightmarish. Like,
Ooh.
and you can say, like, oh, when you think nightmarish, you think of something scary, like a guy with an axe or something. But, like, imagine, like, the nightmares you've had where you're, like, falling and can't stop.
Oh, no.
That's what that last episode feels like. Yeah. Like, it's this terror through this whole episode. Like, the way it all comes to an end is bananas. And if anybody's listening to this and has not seen the end of this show, do not seek out the end of this show. Just watch it, because it's like nothing I've ever seen. It's so thoroughly enjoyable. I highly recommend The Curse. And also love Emma Stone.
Oh, yeah. I love Emma Stone too. I'm writing down these
Nice.
your list because I want to watch these. And these shows that I watched this year, they're gonna leave a hole and an emptiness, and I need to fill that with more great shows. So for my number 2, I have Yellow Jackets.
Nice.
Oh my God, I love the show. I just started watching it this year, so I like caught up, and then there was a freshly new season for me after I caught up, and I'm like,
nice.
Sweet. But yeah, it's just a really great show. I don't know, it's a great cast. It's a lot of women. Oh
yeah, I love how heavily like the cast is just women.
Yeah, they're women. They're dynamic. They're like, they're not perfect. They're all flawed in some way. They went through this trauma, and there's like that little supernatural aspect to it that's kind of been growing and growing, and I'm just really excited to see where it goes.
Wait, did season 2 come out in 2024 or was it 2023? Not that I care, and it can still be on the top, but I swear.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong maybe it's just because I watched it this year and I didn't realize it wasn't.
I have no sense of time anyway, so I don't know.
It's coming up. Oh yeah, no, you're right. It is 2023. Oops.
Oh no.
Oops.
Do you want to keep it anyway?
Yeah, I don't know what else you're going to replace it with, so sorry about that, guys. That one's technically not from 2024.
No worries. It's an excellent show. Such a great adult actress. It's told in 2 different time periods, so like all the adult actresses are great. So many like amazing actresses, and then the younger actresses are also great. And I love how they play off of each other. Like the younger actresses really made an effort to kind of adopt the mannerisms of the older actresses, and I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess we're down to our number 1.
You ready for my number 1?
I'm ready for your number 1.
Motherfucking Creep Tapes.
Oh, that was so good. Oh my gosh.
Love the Creep Tapes. What a fun idea for a show. You've heard us talk about how much we like Creep and Creep 2. This is such an interesting show because you can tell they probably wanted to make a movie, but maybe they didn't get the funding for it, or they just wanted to do it a different way, which is also interesting. It's 5 episodes long. They're like 25-minute episodes, and the idea is that they are like tapes that sit on this guy's shelf. All of them had a unique premise. They're all found footage. The way that they meet the found footage, like in each episode, how they like make it a realistic scenario where there's somebody with a camera is like always interesting. And he's just unhinged in it. And I also just found this show so funny, like so much funnier than the movies. Like, was it just me? Like, am I messed up or something? But I just thought this was so funny. Like,
Yeah, it was really funny. Like I feel like the first movie was really funny too, but
mhm.
it was hilarious. And like, you know, the lore episode where you get to
The
you
final one?
you get to see more
Yeah.
of his backstory. Like, what an incredible episode. And I don't know, it just made sense for the series. It made sense for the character. Very, very good. And I could see them doing more seasons of this easily.
Yeah, by that last episode, I was thinking like this is an incredible send off to this show, like with that final bit of lore. And I was like, man, it sucks that there's not going to be any more Creep Tapes, but I guess they are talking about a season 2, which is awesome. But just saying, it's wrapped up so well in that last episode and so fucked up and so satisfying that you really are like, they just totally did this justice. Like,
Yeah, he did such a great job with that character, Mark Duplass. Oh my god, incredible. So for my number one, I have From. Oh my god, I love this show so much. So my number one show of all time is Lost, and From has like the same vibes as Lost for sure, where
Okay.
you know, it's like a bunch of people trapped somewhere, and each character has their own little backstory, and there's like some type of ominous presence terrorizing them. And I guess it's the same creators of Lost also worked on this
Okay.
show, and it's also the same cast. So well, not the same cast, but the one guy, actor in From, Boyd, he was also in Lost. He was Michael in Lost, and his
Okay.
acting is so good in this show. And this is another one I actually discovered this show along with Yellow Jackets, and between watching, I would go back and forth between watching the two of them, and just incredible. It's such an incredible show. From terrifies me. From might be the scariest thing I've ever seen, like movie, TV show, all around. It's probably the scariest thing. And they just hit this sweet spot in horror that is equally like human suffering and supernatural happenings, like, and it just melds and those two meet each other in such a way that it is truly terrifying. And that show makes me cry. It scares the shit out of me. It gives me hope. I like feel such a range of emotions, and it's just incredible. It's a really incredible show. If you haven't seen it yet, like, you need to see this show. And not only it is a horror, I call it the horror version of Lost, just because it's so similar, and Lost is the best. It's goated for me. Yeah, have you heard about that show, Chelsea?
I've actually not ever even heard of it, but I'm very intrigued by it. I'll definitely check it out.
I know Nina watches it. It's been getting a lot of traction over the last year. I feel like it's like getting the same phenomenon right now. It's similar to Breaking Bad, where Breaking Bad was out for like a season or two before people started paying attention to it and was like, whoa, guys, this show is incredible.
Yeah.
It's a great show. You gotta check it out. I don't want to like spoil things, but
I will check it out.
yeah, and it's just a great like mystery too.
I do like a mystery show.
Yes.
Do you have any like honorable mentions for your list?
I don't think so. Oh, yeah. One honorable mention I wanted to do was the Dune show,
Oh, yes.
which I'm not caught up on yet. But it follows the Bene Gesserit group,
Mm-hmm.
which in the Dune universe is a group of women that have psychic powers that kind
Right.
of control the universe in
Mm-hmm.
a kind of like psyops way. They're pretty badass, and I
Yeah.
love getting to see like kind of like origin story stuff.
I watched episode 1. I enjoyed it, but I haven't watched any more since that.
Yeah, I've only watched a few episodes so far, so I'd like to see the rest of the season before I decide if it's in my top
Mhm.
5 yet. But so far, I'm really enjoying it. I love a mostly woman cast. I like
Mhm.
when the cast is like older women too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
focusing on that as well, how they were all like, I don't know, it felt like the main characters are in their 30s and 40s, like, which is awesome.
Yes, absolutely. All right, so that was our top 5 show.
I do have an honorable mention also.
Oh, what's your honorable mention?
So my honorable mention is the Fallout show.
Oh my god, fuck, I forgot about the Fallout show. So that one probably should, so I'm gonna put that as number 2 instead of Yellow Jackets.
Okay.
Yeah, because I forgot about that.
I wanted to like it more, but I really, really did enjoy it. And for years, like, I loved Fallout. Like, that was one of my favorite video games for years. And I do always gravitate towards like a post-apocalyptic thing. And I also like how Fallout always blended together like the post-apocalypse stuff with like vintage stuff. And obviously vintage stuff is my thing too. And also, wow, Kyle MacLachlan being in it. I really enjoyed it. I wish there was wilder stuff in it, and like there were some parts of it that felt like a little impersonal to me, like kind of felt like very like just felt like some of it could have used a little more depth in certain ways. But
I see.
I forgot the lead actress, but she was amazing.
Ella
But she's also
Purnell.
in Yellow Jackets, right?
Yeah, Ella Purnell. Yeah, she's in Yellow
Yeah.
Jackets. But yeah, Fallout's great. We got Walter Goggins getting the recognition he
How
deserves.
could I forget? Everyone's hot for the ghoul.
Dude, the ghoul's the best character in that show.
Definitely. I love it. I love the way he looks. I love his character. He does such a good job in that role. And for as much as I felt like some of it was not ideally like what I'd like to see or like what I wanted, him, I have no complaints about the ghoul or the ghoul story or the way he's playing him.
I do have a wrap-up question for this segment.
Uh-huh.
Out of your top 5, who
Mhm.
is your favorite character from those shows?
Oh, dude from the Creep Tapes, which I feel like everybody calls him Joseph. I think his name was kind of established as Joseph, but I think we don't actually really know if it's his name or not. Definitely Joseph from the Creep Tapes. How about you? You just asked me, though.
I know. I think maybe Billy Butcher from The Boys,
Nice.
because he's just so fun. Or Walter Goggins, honestly,
The
in
ghoul.
Fallout. I'm gonna say Billy Butcher because he's just a fun character.
Yeah, I am ready. So we are going to do our top 10 movies of 2024. What is your number 10?
My number 10 was Alien Romulus.
Nice.
Yep. I really loved it, but it isn't the movie that I was wanting it to be, which is why it's all the way at
that
number
makes
10.
sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I was hoping that it'd be like a trilogy with Prometheus, Alien Covenant, and then Alien Romulus. Unpopular opinion, I really loved Prometheus, and I loved what Ridley Scott was doing with those movies, and I wanted to see a third one. But I think those movies got so much hate, like Prometheus and Alien Covenant, that he decided to go like a very fan servicey way with it.
Yeah.
But it was a really solid, good movie that I'll probably watch again. It's just a little bit disappointing just for that reason.
Right. That makes sense. I still haven't seen it. I need to. There's so much. Like, I am going crazy with my list of like, oh my god, I haven't seen this. I haven't seen this.
Yeah.
But that I still
Also,
do want to watch.
also, that's not really like your vein that you really enjoy.
Yeah, not typically. So I guess that's why other things kind of took precedence over it, but I do want to see it still.
So, what was your number 10?
All right. So my number 10. So I will say I do have a big list of all the movies I've seen in 2024. And most of them I found to be sort of middle of the road to not good.
Oh,
So
no.
my top 10 list is something I wasn't super confident in, but I did my best with like what I've seen so far. Still have to see so much. Like even just the next 2 weeks, like I still need to see Nosferatu. I would like to see Baby Girl. I would like to see Bloody Axe Wound. So much going on. Still have to see so many, plus all the stuff that's streaming that I haven't seen. But anyway, did the best with what I've seen so far. My
Yeah.
number 10 is actually Y2K.
I had that as on my list for what I should see before recording
Mhm.
this, that I didn't get to that either. And so you really liked it?
I did. So I didn't love it, but I didn't find it middle of the road like some other stuff that was like bumped below it on my list. Um I found it really unique and interesting, honestly, and I think a lot of people did not like it, but I don't care because I did like it. There was a lot to like about it. I saw it kind of on a whim because we had gone to see another movie the one night, which is actually going to be number 5 on my list, but after that movie was over, Y2K was starting in like 5 minutes, so we were outside for a minute and we're like, "You know what? Let's go see Y2K too."
Hell
So
yes.
so we went to go see Y2K, and I think I appreciate it because it was kind of on a whim, and I had my expectations were on the floor. Even when the previews were on, I was like, I don't know. I don't know if I really want to see this, but then I was pleasantly surprised. It had the feeling to me of classic teen movie. Something fun about it was like fun. I say this is fun. Something fun about it was that the characters were kind of just getting picked off one by one, and you don't always see that in a movie, especially like a teen movie. Like the people usually have a prolonged life in those movies, but they were getting picked off, which was great. And also Eduardo Franco, who plays Argyle in Stranger Things, is in it. But I don't even want to say what the deal with Y2K is because I knew what the general idea of it was, but then I forgot. So while I was watching it happen, I was like, "Oh, holy shit, I can't believe I forgot that this is like what is happening in this movie." So it could be annoying at parts with all the throwback stuff they were trying to do.
They're
Do you
like
know
tapping into nostalgia.
yeah, like tapping real hard into the nostalgia, but like also in a way that it's like, oh, I remember that. I remember that. I remember that. So
Oh,
maybe this is our era because the 80s had that for so long that it's like
yeah.
it's tapped out now. But now we have it for the early 2000s and I'm fine with that. So I thought it was so fun. I'm not going to say everybody should go to the theater and see it if it's still in, but for a streaming movie it's fun. And like I'm also not going to spoil this part, but like do you know what there's like a famous early 2000s celebrity in it? Do you know who's in it?
No, who is it?
Oh, I don't even want to say.
Okay,
I want people to find
okay.
out.
Okay,
They-
okay.
It just so added to the Y2K feeling of it.
That was
yeah.
A24 production, right?
It was, yeah.
I just love that production company so much. I kind of want to watch like any horror movie they put out at this point.
Yeah. They I feel like they snap a lot up lately. Like they're doing so much lately, but there's still very few like A24 related things I haven't liked. So, what's your number 9?
My number 9 is Dune Part 2.
Ooh, yes.
I just love Dune. I don't know. It was cool to see. It was cool to see Dune Part 2. I love Zendaya. Oh my god. Zendaya. I love Zendaya. Oh, big fan.
Loved seeing Dune 2 in the theater. I didn't see the first Dune in the theater, and that felt like a mistake, but I loved seeing Dune 2 in the theater.
Yes, those are movies that are meant to be seen on a big screen. Just
oh, yeah.
Incredible visuals.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, really good story. And I have one criticism of Dune, which was that everything's so muted.
Oh, yeah.
In these new movies, I feel like there should be like a little bit more vibrancy in some aspects, but I get the aesthetic they're going for. It's like futuristic kind of thing.
Right.
So, but I really like. I loved watching that in the theaters, and I probably will
Mhm.
marathon Dune and Dune Part 2 again in
Oh,
the
yeah.
future. So, what was your number 9?
So my number 9 was this movie called Low Lifes. Yes, that's how it's spelled. I'm not saying it wrong. I think it was a Shudder original, and it was straight to streaming. It was just a fun little dark horror comedy. There wasn't too much to it, but I thought it was really fun. I don't really want to say too much, but it's kind of about like a cannibal family,
Ooh.
where like a modern family and this other family meet. And yeah, lots of interesting stuff happening in there, and one of like the better like straight to streaming things I've seen this year. I recommend it. I don't want to say too much, but it was an enjoyable little
Mhm.
thing to watch.
Ooh, I haven't seen that before. Love cannibals. I mean, like in movies, not in real life. So, my number 8, and I don't know if you even heard about this, but my number 8 is this really low budget movie on YouTube
Mhm.
called Milk and Cereal. But cereal, it's spelled like serial killer.
Mm. I saw that floating around. Like, I'm aware that that was a thing, but I don't really know anything about it.
Yeah, it went a little viral. This movie was made on an $800 budget.
Wow.
Just some guys on YouTube that like make little shorts and stuff. Found footage style, and it's just really good for what it is. It got me excited about all the little horror movies and shorts and stuff that people are just releasing on YouTube,
Oh,
like
yeah.
free to watch online. And I went down a rabbit hole after this, and I just watched one
Nice.
after the other. And yeah, it was really good acting. It was really good story, really good twists and turns. It kind of reminded me of Creep, actually.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
I would put it in the same vein as the Creep movies and stuff. But yeah, you should check it out. It's free to watch
I
on
just
YouTube.
wrote it
It's like-
down.
yeah, it's only like maybe like 40-45 minutes, but
Okay.
it was good. It was
Awesome.
really
Yeah, I just
good.
wrote that down.
Mm-hmm.
So is it time for my number 8?
Yeah, so what was your number 8?
So I have Long Legs as my number 8.
Oh, yeah.
I liked Long Legs. I don't think I loved it, but I liked it. I like Mike Monroe a lot. Of
Mhm.
course, Nicolas Cage playing some wackadoo role is just great. And I know Osgood Perkins is, sometimes people hate him, sometimes people like him, but I generally like his movies. Like, I really enjoyed how dark and brooding The Black Coat's Daughter was. This kind of had a lot of the same feelings to me, and I liked the darkness and the broodiness in the wintertime. Which now I kind of want to watch it again because it's cold out actually, and I think that came out in like the dead of summer, I'm pretty sure.
Mm.
But I liked that, and I really liked how they kept the Nicolas Cage character's looks under wraps until
Yeah.
people saw it. I was just taking mental note of how many shots were like done through windows, and like how
Wow.
many like repeating like triangles there were in the movie. Like, there was just some little fun stuff like that. And then of course, like
Oh.
the devil silhouette that was showing up in some scenes. I don't know how many times it showed up, but there's definitely some scenes where it's like incredibly muted in the back and you have to look really hard. So I
Mm.
just like looking around for stuff in a movie, so that was really fun for me.
Wow, I don't know if I even noticed that before you
Really?
mentioned it. Yeah, that Long Legs was good. The genius marketing with the whole
Mhm.
Nicolas Cage is unrecognizable, and it's just
Oh,
like
yeah.
his mouth that they show, and you're like, I want to see more.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that
Super
that
fun.
was good. That was really good. I love it, like a dreary detective, kind of like depressing
Yes.
detective show or
Yes.
movie. Sign me up
Definitely.
for anything like that. And the fact that it was like a little horror in there too was perfect.
Mhm. What's your next one on your list?
So my number 7 is Strange Darling.
Nice.
Yes, which we saw together. It's just a great, I don't know, it was a great movie. It was great twists and turns, and I love when you're watching a movie and you're trying to like
Figure it out.
yeah, you're trying really hard to figure it out, and you're like, what the hell's going on here? I love that about it, and I love the character. Yeah,
The devil and the lady.
yeah, and I'm sure we'll be talking about Strange Darling again. So
We sure will. Yes, it's down further on my list. So I'll save some input for when it's number
Yeah.
1. Yeah. Strange
So-
Darling. Super glad we got to see it together too.
Mm-hmm. So what's your number 7?
So my number 7 is actually a movie I watched earlier today
Ooh.
because I was procrastinating seeing it, not for any real reason, but I wanted to throw on one last 2024 thing today before we did the podcast that I hadn't seen. So it is Immaculate, the Sydney
Ooh.
Sweeney nun movie.
Yes. Immaculate's also on my list.
Nice.
Oh my god, I loved Immaculate. I love Immaculate so much when I watched it. I was like, holy shit, was not expecting this, but it's incredible.
I regretted not seeing it in the theater when I watched it today.
Mhm.
And I don't know why I didn't. There was just so much else going on. I was seeing other movies, but I like Sydney Sweeney in a horror role. Like, I mean, I like her in general, but like in a horror role, she's super fun. I think I read that like that script had been like passed up on, and then she was instrumental in like getting the film actually made. Then, did you read about that at all?
Yeah, I heard something like that she was like really passionate about wanting to make that
Mhm.
movie happen, and so she made it happen basically.
Like a third of the way through the movie, there's that montage where she's like getting settled into the convent and like, I don't know, they're slaughtering chickens or something and like
Mhm.
also doing the laundry. The needle drop for the song at that point, like I got chills because I immediately recognized it as like the theme from like a Giallo movie from the 70s.
Wow.
It's a track by an artist named Bruno Nicolai, I think. And it's the theme from, and I haven't seen this movie, but I listened to a lot of Giallo soundtrack stuff. But it's the theme from the 1972 movie, The Red Queen Kills 7 Times. And I just thought that was the fucking coolest thing. Like, obviously, the movie takes place in Italy, but like, what a cool homage to Italian Giallo in the middle of that movie.
Wow. Do you think it had like the same like inspiration from that era of movie?
Honestly, I saw some people online referring to Immaculate as a Giallo movie, and I honestly don't really see it. There are some parallels. Like, I feel like Giallo movies always concentrate, well, I shouldn't say always, but often heavily concentrate on female characters. And obviously, Sydney Sweeney's character is like the main character in this movie. I can see why they put that song in. Like, it's just a fun little nod, I guess.
I never heard of that word before you said it right now.
Really?
Yeah.
So Giallo means yellow in Italian, and Giallo movies, which like I know you've seen Giallo movies like Suspiria,
Uh-huh.
Deep Red. So they're called Giallo movies because the pulpy crime thriller books of the 50s and 60s were always yellow. So Giallo is yellow in Italian. So then when these films started coming out, they were categorized as Giallo films.
Oh, very
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, I've definitely seen movies like that. I had no idea that's what they were called.
They all have like so many similar hallmarks, and it's usually like some institution like a museum or like a fashion house or like an art,
Oh.
collector or some like high society thing. And then the killers are often masked and have like black gloves and their identity is usually hidden till the end. But yeah, there's just so many things that add together to make that kind of movie, I guess.
Oh, I see. It's kind of like a very broad, loose category. I tried to Google Giallo movie, and I spelled it with a J. I don't know if that's right, but Google autocorrected to J-Lo movie.
It's
That's not-
Giallo.
Okay, so for my number 6, I've got Cuckoo.
Ooh, yes. I loved Cuckoo. That's on my list as well.
Yeah, Cuckoo was really good. Hunter Schafer's performance was incredible. Like, I feel like it's one of those movies that's like, it's a piece of art.
Mm-hmm.
It's so out there and bizarre, and I feel like very open to interpretation.
Mm-hmm. I liked Dan Stevens in that movie a lot. Like being like the mad scientist guy.
Yeah, he was good.
He's so hot. Not necessarily as the mad scientist guy, but in general, man, Dan Stevens. He's also in another movie I have on my list, but
So what was your
I-
number 6?
funny you say that. My number 6 was Abigail, which is the other movie that Dan Stevens is in.
Oh.
Did you see Abigail?
I haven't seen it. I need to
Oh,
watch
it's
it.
so fun. It's so fun. It's a straight up horror comedy, and it's kind of got like you know how The Boys has that like irreverent, weird, violent vibe, but it's like
Yes.
kind of funny. Like Abigail has a very similar vibe to that. Yeah, just like super funny, and like Dan Stevens' character is such an asshole.
Oh my
But there's
God.
lots of like exploding into blood stuff, like the stuff I wanted to see in the Fallout TV show.
Is that one of the last movies Angus Cloud made before he died?
It has to be when I forget. Oh, he died in 2023.
From the trailers of Abigail, the vibe I got was like, you know, in Cabin in the Woods,
Yeah.
there's like all those monsters, and the one monster was a little ballerina girl. It reminded me
Yeah.
of that when I saw the previews.
It was fun. It was super fun. What was your number 5?
My number 5 was Heretic. I saw that on Christmas.
Nice way to celebrate Christmas.
It was a fantastic way to celebrate Christmas. It was just so good. Like, I loved the sharp dialogue, the sharp script, like all the discussion about religion, and Hugh Grant.
Oh, love Hugh Grant.
Hugh Grant singing "Creep" was the highlight
So
of
fucking
my
funny.
Christmas. Yeah,
I saw it. I liked it all right, but like it didn't make anywhere close to like my top 10. I think just because of my own like relation to religion, like I feel like the movie just didn't really give me anything new to chew on in
I
a way.
see.
But I did like seeing it, and I liked the premise, and that was something I was waiting all year to see. Like I really wanted to see that. And it was okay, but I just think it didn't like strike a chord with me as much as I really wanted it to.
Okay, so what was your number 5?
My number 5 was Getaway. If you haven't heard of that, which I hadn't either, like my boyfriend was like, "Oh, let's go see Getaway," and I was like, "Okay." Like I think I've glanced at the poster, but don't tell me a word. Like don't tell me anything.
Oh,
I went in totally not knowing a single thing except what the poster kind of looked like. So the main so it's about a family, like like a mother, father, and then son and daughter, and they are British, and they're on a vacation to Sweden, and they're going to an island to like observe or take part in their like folk festival. It's a horror comedy. And it's really like it's wild. It's really fun. I've
Ooh.
never seen a folk horror comedy before, and I do like folk horror.
Oh.
And then the dad in it is Nick Frost from Shaun of the Dead.
Yeah. He wrote it. There's no other credited writers.
Okay, yeah. So Nick Frost also wrote it. And it was fun. Like at one point it just gets so splattery. And, like,
Ooh.
but yeah, this was a really fun movie. I recommend it, and I'm glad I saw it. It was like a nice little surprise. But that's the movie we went to see that we saw Y2K right after.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I haven't even heard of this. I gotta check it out.
I was thinking too, poor Sweden. Sweden always getting like the fucked up folk horror movies. What does the Visitors Bureau do?
It wants people like us to come visit, I guess. So for my number 4, I have Caddo Lake. I think that's how-
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even think it was in the theaters. I think I saw it on HBO.
Okay.
But it's like a more of a sci-fi drama with like touches of horror, I feel like. It's a really like mind trip kind of movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you've ever seen the movie Predestination with Ethan Hawke, it's
Which we would like to do an episode on.
yeah, it's kind of similar to that. I don't want to give anything away. I feel like that kind of does, but yeah, it's a good one. It's so
I
what
just
was-
wrote it down.
So get in the recommendos.
Mm-hmm.
So what was your number 4?
My number 4 was Terrifier 3.
Oh, I haven't seen that one either.
So I only ever saw like Terrifier 1, and I honestly don't even know if I saw it till the end. And I'm not a Terrifier fanatic like I think a lot of people are.
Mhm.
And I do like how controversial Terrifier is and how just grimy and gory and gross it is.
Mhm.
But like Terrifier 3 having the Christmas theme, we're like, well, we're gonna go see it. So we skipped over 2 and just went right to see 3. But a friend did fill us in on what happens in 2, and I do plan on watching 2. But the production value difference between 1 and 3 is amazing. It's just made really well, and then the Christmas aspect is fun, and like I do greatly respect Art the Clown as a new horror icon. Like,
Yes, I accept him as a new horror icon. I love him. He's great. He's wacky.
Yes.
He's gross. Scary. Yeah. I had no idea this was Christmas themed, and now I want to watch it.
yeah,
Like
watch
this
it
weekend.
soon.
Yeah.
I saw it 2 months ago, and it wasn't even Christmas. That's when it was in the theater.
I wonder why they didn't release it on Christmas or like close to Christmas.
There's gotta be a reason, but I've got no idea.
Mm.
What was your number 3?
My number 3 was Immaculate.
Nice.
Right back
nice.
to Immaculate. Yeah. Oh God, I just felt like that had such a great twist at the end. And I think
Mhm.
did that come out? That came out alongside another movie.
Didn't it come out the same time as The First Omen?
Yeah. Yep, it did. Which was also like centered around a nun.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Immaculate just had that extra zest
Mhm.
to it.
True.
And that ending scene, you don't want to spoil if you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
but what a way to end the movie. Holy shit.
That last 20 minutes or so was really captivating.
Yeah. So what was your number 3?
My number 3 was The Substance.
Oh, yeah. That's on my list as well. And the list is
Nice.
very short right now.
Yep. So The Substance. I actually didn't really know anything about it. We were just going to see it. I just knew the cover, like the weird cover where it's like Demi Moore's back, like with the incision down the back of it.
Yeah.
And I just remember like us watching it, me and like my boyfriend in the theater, and just being like, like jaws dropping because like we saw it really early before like anybody was talking about like the twist and the wildness of it,
Yeah.
and like how it just kind of slams on the brakes and does this weird tone change, and then like it feels like you're watching like an 80s science horror, like a Reanimator, like something like
Yeah.
Stuart Gordon or like
Yeah.
Brian Usna would have made. And that is just such a fun thing, especially since it's so mainstream
Yeah.
and especially with such a big actress like Demi Moore.
Oh, I loved seeing Demi Moore in this. I have been following this movie for a little while. Like, I was looking forward to it. I saw the trailers and stuff, and I'm like, this looks incredible.
Mhm.
And yeah, Demi Moore was amazing, easily in my top 2 movies for the year.
Mhm.
Can we say body horror?
Yeah.
Body horror. Like, oh God, if you like body horror, if you like 80s body horror, you are gonna love this movie. Like, this is so refreshing for the body horror gang.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I also like that, like, there's very overt body horror, but there's also the body horror of, like, the scene where she's going out on that date and she just
Yeah.
keeps going back to the bathroom to pick at her makeup and she's just, like, violently rubbing her makeup off. To me,
Oh, yeah.
being a woman is body horror, okay? Like,
Yeah.
it just is. And, like, that scene was so, like, that just struck such a
Oh my
chord.
God. I read somewhere that Demi Moore did that scene, like, she did like 15 takes and she rubbed her face raw.
Oh my gosh.
That was like hurting.
hero.
Yeah. But also like the body horror that women experience getting older, like from
Mhm.
society, and then just playing up on that. Oh my God. What an incredible movie. Really
Agreed.
good. So
Very
so
enjoyable.
that was my number 2 was
Nice.
The Substance. So what was your number 2?
My number 2 is Cuckoo.
Yeah.
And Cuckoo, I know that the story of like cuckoo bird mating habits,
Mhm.
not habitats. Cuckoo bird mating habits is something that has been used in films before.
Really?
Like I feel like Village of the Damned is kind of like similar to that kind of But I just really liked it, and I know that, like, it didn't all make sense by the end. We don't 100% understand the movie, and that's a
Mm-hmm.
fault of the movie not being perfect, but, like, I loved it. Hunter Schafer was incredible, and I just liked how weird and dark it was, and I liked that, like, I didn't really know what I was about to watch. I actually saw it on my birthday this year, but, I didn't know what I was gonna watch, and then, like, when there was that lady with the red eyes who's in the trailers, it's
Mm-hmm.
like, "Holy shit, this is great."
Yeah. Yeah. Cuckoo's great. It's like, it's got that classic, like, horror monster kind of element to it.
Mhm.
But then they touch on some weird, like, family dynamic things too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really great. What's that guy's name that you just mentioned?
Dan Stevens.
Dan Stevens was such a great, like, just a wacky, eccentric
So
kind of character.
wacky. Oh my god.
Yes.
Playing the flute.
I really enjoyed him. And I like that scene at the end when Hunter Schafer's crossing the room. That was really fantastic. It was very, like, Western, that scene to me.
What was your number one?
So my number one was Lisa Frankenstein.
Nice.
Lisa Frankenstein destroyed me.
Oh.
Like, I was looking forward to it because there was this movie we had on VHS. So I'll just describe it. So there was this movie from the 80s that I can't remember what the name is, but essentially it was this couple from high school, and it was like a cheerleader and a jock, and the guy's girlfriend dies, and then she comes back to life, and he's still dating her, but her body's like rotten and falling apart, and it's just really goofy and funny. And when I saw the Lisa Frankenstein trailer, I immediately thought of that movie and saw, like, okay, maybe they had some inspiration from that movie. And that's all I knew going into it. And I went to the movie theater and it destroyed me, that movie.
Aw.
We talk about, like, loving things that destroy us. That movie destroyed me. I was not expecting it to have such dark themes. It dealt with some pretty heavy and dark topics. It's just such a fun movie. It's, like, really stylized. I love the fashion in there. And it destroyed me. It was still a fun movie, even though it was really dark. It had some very dark elements. I just loved it. I don't know. Like, I needed to talk to my therapist after that one.
Aw.
But I have to say, overall, I think it deserves a number one spot on my list. It was really fantastic.
I still haven't seen it yet. I need to.
Yeah, I think you would like it. It's a fun one.
My number one is Strange Darling,
Yeah!
which you
Good
guys
choice.
probably maybe listened to our episode. We did a spoiler-free episode on Strange Darling. I have a couple other thoughts to mention now that it's been a couple months, which still aren't spoilers. The one thing I really liked about that movie is, so I liked the general story of it, but I also liked the way it touched on, like, kink stuff, which I don't want to say too much. Just handled that in a really refreshing way. And also, like, there's certain scenes where the characters are talking in the car together and kind of negotiating an encounter between them. And that's also just, like, really refreshing. I don't know. I just liked all that about it. Also, Willa Fitzgerald was amazing, and
Yeah.
Kyle Gallner, of course, was amazing. Kind of a micro cast in this movie. I feel like there were less than, like, seven or eight actors and actresses in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Very small amount of people, but yeah, Strange Darling for the number one spot.
And the breakfast, who could
Breakfast.
forget that breakfast? How many times did you see that in the theaters, Chelsea?
Twice at the theater and then once at home so far.
Yeah, really fantastic movie. Really, really good. I enjoyed that. I'm glad we all went to see that.
Same. Thanks for humoring me by going to see it.
It was great. It was so much fun. Yes. What a
Yeah.
great movie. It was a great ride to go on. I get that too, excitement. Like, when I see a really good movie and I want all my friends to watch it, and I'm like, I just sit there and I just look at their reactions and I just love
yeah.
it.
The best.
Yeah.
Well, those are pretty solid top 2024 lists for us.
Yeah. Do we want to go over our lists again, or?
Oh, yeah. Should we go over the TV first?
Yeah. So my top shows. Number 5, I had The Boys. Number 4, I had The Bear. Number 3, Rings of Power. Number 2, scratch Yellow Jackets. It's Fallout because Yellow Jackets is not from 2024. And my number 1 was from number 1.
Nice. My top 5 TV were Dark Side of the Ring Season 5, House of the Dragon Season 2, Interview with the Vampire Season 2, The Curse, and The Creep Tapes.
Oh, yeah. And then for movies, my top 10 movies, we got at number 10, Alien Romulus. Number 9, Dune Part 2. Number 8, Milk and Cereal. Number 7, Strange Darling. Number 6, Cuckoo. Number 5, Heretic. Number 4, Caddo Lake. Number 3, Immaculate. Number 2, The Substance. And number 1, Lisa Frankenstein.
Nice. Mine were Y2K, Lowlifes, Longlegs, Immaculate, Abigail, Getaway, Terrifier 3, The Substance, Cuckoo, and Strange Darling. And then I think that means we shared 4 on our top 10 list. Strange Darling, Cuckoo, The Substance, and Immaculate, right?
Oh my god. We did. That's wild. I love that.
Did you happen to have any, were there any 2024 movies you didn't like, or do you have a least favorite?
I recently watched this one. It was a sci-fi movie on Netflix starring Megan Fox. And
I forgot the name of that.
It was called Subservience.
Mm.
I watched this movie and I hated it and loved it equally. I don't know. It's it definitely gave Ex Machina. But,
okay.
It was you know when a big movie used to come out in the movie theater, and then there would always be a straight to VHS or straight to DVD movie that was just a ripoff of that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was really a B movie. It's B movie Ex Machina. But I don't know, it was bad, but it was good. I enjoyed it, and I would recommend other people watch it. But was it a good movie? No, it was not a good movie. It was the ending just kind of spiraled and came up really fast, and the guy's having these sexual fantasies. I mean, it's Megan Fox, but he's this is, the sex scenes are goofy, where in Ex Machina or the movie Her, these people have sexual relations with robots or AI, and they're kind of tastefully done or done in a way that's really disturbing. This movie just does it in a really goofy way. It's somebody wanted to make a B porno movie of Ex Machina.
Do you think they made the movie with the intention of hiring Megan Fox?
Yes. I don't know. There's a deepness to it. There's a deepness to it in the way that if you ever dated someone with baby mama drama, a man with baby mama drama, or you were ever in a scandalous relationship with a married man, there's a lot going on between wife and the other woman. Which is it's kind of done in a really bad way. From a man's perspective, I feel
just making women look the worst.
Yeah.
Is that what you mean?
God
forbid women have hobbies.
Kind of, in a way, yeah. Yeah. That was it. I wanted to talk to someone about that. I had thoughts on this movie.
You
so
had to
I'm
let
very
it out.
glad you asked that question. How about you?
There were 3 that I just didn't really like this year. And then I have so many movies I saw that just didn't make my list, but the bottom 3 for me were Smile 2, Afraid, which is that AI movie, and Night Swim.
Okay. I have
Night
not
Swim has
seen
Wyatt Russell. So I was well, I want to see Wyatt Russell. He's
Uh-huh.
hot. Not a good movie.
Oh,
Really not
no.
So Afraid was not great. It was about an AI taking over this family's life. And Smile 2 just went on too goddamn long, in my opinion. And then some of the middle movies that didn't make it was In a Violent Nature, Late Night with the Devil, I saw the TV Glow, Oddity. I can't remember what else, but those were kind of the ones that sat between my top 10 and then my like low 3.
May your DVDs never be scratched.
May your VCR never be hungry.
May the film reel never break.
Thanks for listening. Stay tuned for more.